Greetings, Sir Janos. We are the Group 6, and we will present our work, the billing of the ordering system in the restaurant. So with that, let's further ado, and first thing first, let's introduce our members. Our first member is Demesa Matthew, Dedicatoria Donovan, Ilagan Christia, and also Martin Jandy, and me, Nonsol Jan Raven. So with that, let's start our presentation.
Greetings, Sir Janos. I'm Krishna Ilagan, and tonight I'll be explaining my part here and our code. First, it starts with a session start, which tells the server to begin tracking user data across different pages. Next is initialize session storage for orders and errors. It checks if orders and error arrays exist in the current session. If they don't, it initializes them as empty arrays. This ensures that when a user adds a product or makes a mistake, there is a designated place to store that information without the script crashing or the code crashing. Next is this specific part here, the format number into Philippine peso. The peso function here. The peso function is a helper utility designed to make the output look professional. It takes a raw number, for example, 500, 100, 1000, and it converts the value to a float, which you can see right here. It converts the value to a float, uses number format, which converts that into a float to ensure that there are exactly 2 decimal places and proper comma separation for thousands. This specific part right here, make sure that it has a 2 decimal places. It is properly 2 decimal places. It prepends the Philippine peso sign over here. For example, when you input 1,000, it becomes 1,000 with the Philippine peso sign and the 2 decimal places behind it. Peso sign 1,000.00. Next is validate order input data. The validate order, this function over here, that function acts as a gatekeeper to ensure that only valid data is saved to the system. It checks 4 specific parameters, which is customer, items, servings, and then price. First, customer must not be empty or just white space. It must have something in it. Must be a name. Next, item must also not be empty. You have to put something in there. Servings must be a number and greater than 0. Same with a price. Must be a number and greater than 0. How it works, it creates an empty errors. It creates this array at the start. Every time a check fails, example, the user leaves the name blank, a specific message is added to the array. Finally, it returns the array. If the array is empty, the data is clean. If it contains string, the system knows to stop and show the user those errors.
Greetings, I'm Donovan Dedicatoria and I'm going to explain the class called menu item. So this code defines a class called menu items, which represent a single food item in the restaurant system. It follows object-oriented programming principles to organize data and behavior. The line class menu item declares a class named menu item. A class is a blueprint used to create objects. In this case, it models a menu item that a customer orders. Inside the class, there are 3 public properties, name, servings, and price. These variables store the name of the menu item, the number of servings ordered, and the price per serving. The keyword public means these properties can be accessed outside the class. Next, we have the constructor method, public function construct, with variables name, servings, and price. So, constructor is a special function that runs automatically when a new object is created from the class. It is used to initialize the object's values. Inside the constructor, the line this name equals name, assign the value passed as name to the object's name property. The keyword this refers to the current object instance. The next lines is this servings equals float servings. Assign the numbers of servings, but it also converts the values into float. This ensures that the value is treated as a numeric type, which is important for calculations. Similarly, this price equals float price. This assigns the price per serving and converts it into a float for accurate mathematical operations. After the constructor, we define a method called getSubtotal. So public function getSubtotal. Using public function getSubtotal, this method is responsible for computing the subtotal of the order. Inside this method, the line return this servings times this price multiplies the number of servings by the price per serving. This gives the subtotal value, which represents the total cost before any additional charges or discount. So in summary, the menu item class stores item details and provides a method to calculate the subtotal, making it reusable and organized within the system. That is all. Thank you.
Hello and dangal greetings, Sir Janus. My name is Madjo Idemesa, and in this video I'm going to explain the class order. So inside the class here we have a variables. So these are like the information or data of the order. So we have a public customer name and we have the public menu item. So basically the public customer name, that's where we store the customer name, and the public menu item, that's where we also store the order menu of the user. So we also have a money related variable, so the subtotal, service charge, and so on. So what are they? The subtotal, this is a that's where we store the price of the food before anything is added. The next is the service charge. That's where we store the XRP from the restaurant, which is the 8%. And the discount rate, that's where we store the percentage of the discount, like 3%, 10%, or 15%. And the next is the discount amount. So that's where we store on how much is money removed because of the discount. And the next is the public total. So basically the total, that's where we put the final amount of the customer they need to pay. The next is the private service rate. So this is private, meaning it's only be accessible inside our class order. And next is we have a first method or constructor, the public function constructor, and that constructor have a two parameter, which is the customer name and the menu item. If we create a class order, something like this, like new order, so that constructor will automatically run, creating a or storing the username into that variable and the menu. And after that, we have another method called compute. It is also a private, meaning that method can only be used inside the class order. So how it works, so first we get the subtotal of the item. After that, we also calculate it calculate the 8% of the subtotal, and after that it make a if else. If the total is 1,000 or more, the 10% discount will be added. And if the 500 if subtotal is 500 or more, the 5% discount will be added, and otherwise no discount. So the discount amount, it multiply the total amount by the discount rate to get the actual money discount. So finally, this line of code, so it this become the final amount of the customer to pay.
Greetings, Sir Jonas. For the part what I'm explaining is this from here to here. So let's start from the two variables. So the edit index takes the index, and then data takes the data. So first if statement, this one is basically a event listener. So it takes the index of that or ID of that edit, then stores it in edit index. Then it edit data station and index edit index. If there's nothing, just puts it to the null. So delete order, the second if statement, the delete order. This one same principle, a listener. If the button is clicked, so stores the index or the ID to index to I actually, and then unset the order from the array using the variable that used to store it. So the next is this one, header location. This one's for reloading only. Normally we use this for page A to page B, but here you just reload it since we don't have the ability to use Ajax. So second is this one, if update is clicked, same principle as delete and edit. It stores the name of that from the input in customer, item in item, servings in servings, price per servings in prices. And in if statement, if nothing, not the error. If there's nothing in the input, it prints the error. So session error. So header reloads again, and if there is the inputs or customer inputs, everything like customer, item, serving, price, serving, puts it in item, in menu item, serving, and price. So and customer name and you menu. Here's the associative array for easy access. Puts everything in the order class, order and menu, order. Basically puts everything in class. So the third if statement, the last if statement. The first if statement is a session. Wait, you said. Yeah. The last and final if statement is for update the session order of the index in the data associative array. Not. If it's false, it returns nothing or do nothing. Same thing here. It reloads the page instead of relocating to another page. And that's all for my part.
Greetings, Sir Janus. I'm John Ray Binasol, and I'll be explaining the whole part of the system that the user can see and can input some data, they can edit some data, and we can provide some data regarding to the requirement. So with that, let's start it. First thing first, we declare the PHP method which has getting some errors if the user is not completing the form before after clicking the button of the add order. For example, if the user, okay, let's go to the, if the user did not input some value, it will go, or it will pop up the error something in order for them to realize what would be the items that is blank or do not have some value. So with that, let's proceed to this. So next, we use the input type hidden edit data and input type hidden with the edit index, since we are going to achieve that after we click the button of the user, the add button, it will pop up there the items. So let's demonstrate it for clear understanding. So with that, let's use the taste case number 1 and the menu item for the burger and the servings for 2 and for the price of 150. As we can see, if we click the add order, it will pop up here in the table in the order list. So let's discuss here or apply what we discussed about the editing index. So if we edit this first index, it will pop up here, or it will go here to the bar, and we're going to update it for a while, like 170. And after clicking the update order, it was updated. So next, fetching the data from the sessions of the PHP that we saved. So now, in the first table data, we fetch the data of the customer name, in the second, the item name, and the subtotal, and the service charge, and the subtotal service charge discount rate, and also, we use the item for peso because we will apply the real world, which is our country, the Philippines. So the discounted amount, yan, and also the total in peso. We use the formatting of the peso to apply the Philippine concept. So next, after that, we have some form right here, the action. On what we see, like this is the form for action form button that will enable us to edit and delete items. So next, but the thing is, after we click the delete, it will pop up the confirmation dialog. We want to ensure that we want to delete the button, the item or the data. So after that, let's click it and it will say delete. Okay. So we add. So for now, let's try to add the test cases for our work that provided in the file. So burger and 2 and the servings for 2 and 150. And also let's click the add order. Yeah, after add order, it will see, or we will see in the order list the value of this. Okay. Another, we have test case 2, we have Anna and pizza. The item is pizza, and the serving is how many? 3. Okay, 3 servings, and the price is 200. So after we click the add order, it will add. So as you can see, provided by the logic earlier of my group mates, the discount is applied. Okay? So next, test case number 3, we do mark, and menu item is stick, and the servings is 2, and the price is 600. So again, we click the add order. So with that, as we can see, if the total amount is below to the condition that my group mates explained earlier, it will pop up here, or it will show here in the discount table data, table row, yes, and 0% for the 300 something, 5% for the 600 below, and 10% for the 1,000 below. As we can see, if we check here in the items, where is it? So with that, if as we can see, if the discount or the subtotal is 1,000, greater than 1,000, the discount rate will be 10%. And if the subtotal is 500, greater than 500, or greater than equal to 500, the discount rate will be 5%. So with that, we do the discount rate if the user or if the order is below of the 500 pesos, it doesn't have the items for the discount. So as we can see, we also have the private service rate of 8%, as we can see here. Yan, because we will apply it here, the service of the 8% service, and that's it. So with that, for another purposes, let's try to edit some items. Let's check if the editable function of our system is working. So, what if our steak is costing 100 pesos? So, as we can see, it doesn't have any discount because the logic behind there is if 1,000 up, we will have some discount. And if 500 below, we don't have discount. So with that, thank you for watching our presentation, and thank you.